Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So it is January 1st, 2015. Happy New Year, the first day of the new year. I hope you guys had an awesome New Year's Eve and an awesome holiday, and I hope you're ready to tackle 2015 and own it. Yeah, own it. No, that wasn't good. Anyway, so today I am going to be doing a reading from the first chapter of Hater. I know a lot of you guys asked for this video. You're really excited about the book. I just sent the ARCs out today. I really hope you like the book. It was really difficult for me to put it out there. In fact, the only person that read it up until yesterday was my editor, because I was like terrified that it wasn't going to live up to Nerd, because Nerd is like super popular and you guys really love that book, and I'm like, oh, what if this one's not as good? So I sent out some ARCs yesterday, and then they went out for the tour today. So they're all out there, so we'll see what people have to say. I did get my first feedback this morning, actually. I sent one out yesterday, and she read it already. So, and she said she liked it better than Nerd, and she said it was her favorite so far of mine. So, we'll see. Hopefully everybody else will feel the same way. So anyway, yeah, so it comes out January 12th, which is in 11 days. Yikes. So I'm gearing up for that release. But yeah, so today I'm going to be reading it off my phone, my Kindle on my phone, because my big Kindle, the battery was dead, and I don't have time to sit around and wait for it to charge. So I'm going to be reading it, the ARC, off my phone. There it is. Hater. And look at my phone cover. This is totally unrelated, but is this not the cutest thing ever? My husband got me this for Christmas, and I just want to, like, squeeze it and love it. Ooh. Okay, anyway, back to Hater. So this is Hater. So this is the ARC. There's the title page. I don't know if you guys can see that with the glare. Let me get on through, and we'll start with chapter 1. So as you know, I do the little buzz feed notification. Why do I keep doing that? It's like escape of the phone. Do you see that? Chapter 1. There's the little notification there. So at the heading of every chapter, which I'm sure you guys know already, I do that. So this one says, #travel trivia. More people are killed yearly by donkeys than by airplane crashes. #you are safe. # unless you have a donkey. So yeah, a lot of them are really random. Some of them go along with the story, but some of them are fun and random, just like that one. So you're safe unless you own a donkey. Anyway, so the first chapter is in Rimmel's point of view, and this is how it begins. And remember, disclaimer, I am not a professional narrator. I probably will fumble over some words. I'll probably be like, what does that say? Because the screen is small. So just bear with me, guys, okay? So you'll get the gist. So anyway, so Rimmel. The white-knuckled grip I punished the armrest with did not loosen until the plane came to an absolute stop. Even then, my fingers only loosened as the loud sounds of the tunnel thing that passengers walked through to enter the airport terminal was rolled over and attached to the plane. The air was stuffy in here, not really stale, but not fresh either. Everyone around me was restless. The flight had been full of turbulence, and the crying baby in the back did nothing to soothe everyone's frazzled nerves. I hated flying. But God, I was so glad to be back. I never thought I'd miss Maryland and its cold seasons this much. Course, it really wasn't the place I missed. It was the person. Everyone started to file toward the door, crowding each other in their attempt to get the hell out of this flying death trap. I stood and waited for my turn, hefting my purse over my shoulder, and turned my cell phone back on. The second it lit up and I was able, I shot out a text. Landed. Getting off now. Romeo's response was instant, and I smiled. I'm waiting. I glanced out the tiny window behind me as if I would see him standing out there on the tarmac. I knew he wasn't, but I couldn't stop my eye from scanning the open space. Butterflies salted beneath my rib cage as a man passing by my row stopped and motioned for me to go ahead. I shot him a grateful smile and slid past him into the aisle. The flight attendant smiled and wished everyone well as I stepped off the plane and into the walkway that led to the terminal. I moved quickly, beyond anxious for my first glance of Romeo. I'd been in Florida almost 2 weeks, but it felt like a freaking eternity. As I went, I bumped into someone laden with a bulky piece of carry-on luggage and another bag, but I didn't stop. I muttered an apology and kept right on going. When I burst into the terminal, my eyes swept around, bouncing from person to person in the crowded, bustling space. My stomach fell a little when I didn't see him, but I knew he probably couldn't come this far. He was probably at baggage claim. I looked around for a sign to point me in the right direction and finally saw one labeled baggage claim with an arrow pointing off to the left. But I didn't follow the arrow. My eyes fixed on someone standing beneath the sign. His hands were jammed into the pockets of his well-worn slouchy jeans. The relaxed action pulled the waistband low, highlighting his flat, narrow waist, his Henley tee molded to. As usual, he was wearing his varsity jacket, and his blonde hair was a mess. My gaze locked on his sapphire blue eyes and didn't let go. His eyes, oh my God, his eyes. The blue was so intense it served as an emergency brake on everything in my life. The second I looked at him, everything else came to a screeching halt. I no longer noticed the huge crowd rushing around. The anxiety-causing flight was just a distant memory, and the 2 weeks I spent longing for his touch became something I would live through 10 times over just to be in this moment with him again. His lips pulled into a smile, and the charm that oozed from every pore in his body made me almost lightheaded. Romeo pulled his hands out of his pockets and straightened, motioning for me. I rushed across the space separating us, my bag slapping against my side as I, for once, gracefully maneuvered around the people in my path. His chuckle brushed over me, and I was just steps away. I threw myself at him with a little sigh of relief. My legs wrapped around his waist and his arms and locked around his arms. See, there I go stumbling. My legs wrapped around his waist and his arms locked around my back. I burrowed my head into his shoulder and inhaled deep, taking in his distinctive scent. "Rim," he murmured, his voice low. I pulled back, and his lips were on mine instantly. The moment our lips touched, he stilled, his body and mouth pausing against mine. Before I could wonder why, he muttered a garbled curse against my mouth, and then his lips began to move. He kissed me softly but fiercely. There was so much possession in the way he kissed me and the way his arms locked around me that my heart stuttered. I parted my lips so his tongue could sweep inside, and when my tongue met his, desire, hot and heavy, unfurled within me. Someone chuckled as they walked by, and Romeo retreated slightly, still letting his mouth linger on mine before completely pulling away. He rested his forehead against mine, and he smiled. "I really fucking missed you." "Me too," I whispered. He dropped another quick kiss on my lips and then stood me back on my feet. I swayed a little, and he chuckled. "Come on, let's get your suitcase so we can go. I want to be alone with you." My stomach dipped, and something inside me loosened. We held hands through the large terminal. He didn't even let go when he snagged my stuff off the baggage claim belt. Since I'd come from Florida, I was wearing a short-sleeved t-shirt over a pair of loose sweatpants. So before we went outside into the cold Maryland air, I dug into my suitcase and pulled out the hoodie he gave me the night of our first kiss. I wore it all the time. After I pulled it on, I glanced over at him, smiling. "What?" I asked. "You took that to Florida?" "Of course," I said. "The evenings can get chilly this time of year." "And what did your dad have to say about you wearing some guy's sweatshirt around?" "You aren't some guy. You're my boyfriend," I replied, and reached for his hand. "And you finally told your dad about us?" he pressed. "Yes, I did. Even though we've been dating a couple months now, I just told my dad over winter break. I wasn't sure what he would say when I told him I was dating. He took it better than I thought, even went as far as to say he was happy for me." "And?" "He took it a lot better than I thought he would." The surprise in my voice was evident, and Romeo glanced at me. "You really thought he'd be upset?" "Yeah, I had. I mean, didn't all dads get upset when their little girls started dating?" I shrugged, feeling silly. I guess I wasn't sure how he'd take it. When he asked me about the name on the back, I explained it was a nickname. A look of doubt crossed his face, and he said he wasn't sure how he felt about his daughter dating someone who earned the name of a player. I braced myself for an argument, but none came. He seemed to cut off whatever lecture he was about to launch into and said, as long as I was happy, that was all that mattered. He must know I'm good for you. Romeo kissed the side of my head as we walked outside. The wintry air took my breath, and I snuggled into the hoodie. I parked as close as I could, he said, noticing the way I grimaced against the cold. We hurried toward the lot where the Hellcat was parked in a short-term section. He opened the passenger door and ushered me inside. Then he tossed my stuff into the trunk. I leaned into the leather seat, marveling at how familiar this car was to me now. It was a 1-hour drive from the airport to campus. We didn't really talk much, despite having plenty to talk about. Every time I thought to say anything, his thumb would gently stroke across the inside of my palm where our hands joined, and my skin would break out in goosebumps. The tension inside the car grew the longer we drove. I wanted him so badly I could barely think or see. For someone who'd gone almost her entire life without sex, the last 2 weeks should have been a problem, but oh, they were. I ached for him. Just holding his hand made my skin tingle with anticipation. When we finally got off the interstate, Romeo turned abruptly onto an empty back road with trees on each side. "Where are you going?" I asked, as he pulled over on the side of the road and let the car idle. "I can't take it anymore, Rem." He reached for me, practically lifting me out of my seat and pulling me across the center toward him. I was all too willing as I climbed into his lap to straddle him. He reached up into the messy bun on my head and pulled out the hair tie. The heavy mess that was my hair tumbled down over my shoulders and back as he carefully removed my glasses before burying his hands in and pulling me close. The kiss was all-consuming. It wasn't like at the airport where he kept his desire in check. Instead, it surged out around me, and I rocked into his already rigid length and moaned low in my throat. Blah, 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 blah. More kissing, more kissing. I am not reading this to you. Let's just say it gets a little heated. It's just a little heated. And this is a family show, people. I can't read this out loud. Let me see. Let me look and see where I can. So let's just say intermission now. Oh yeah, that'll take us to the end of the chapter. And then we move on to chapter 2. Here I am again. In Romeo's point of view. So, yeah. So that's the first chapter. The part that I'll read out loud anyway. So, I hope that was enough for you. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you want to pick up Hater, check it out, see if you like it, and I hope you guys do. So, yeah. So that's the first chapter of Hater. It comes out January 12th. It's part of the hashtag series, and I think that's all I have to say to you today. I'm like, what do I say now? It was a little hot, and it's getting hot in here. Anybody else notice? Okay. So anyway, yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the read, and if you did, give this video a thumbs up. Maybe, leave me a comment or something, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye! Of hashtag Hater. There we go with the again. No. Wrong. Stop it. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel today. No, nobody wants to see that. And let me just tell you the things I've had to go through this morning to do this video. My Kindle isn't charging. I couldn't find the charger, and then when I did find it, it keeps shutting off.
You're not recording that, are you? Okay. Love you.
Go do your man stuff.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.